The cold and rainy weather we've recently been having hasn't been ideal, nor has it been safe for riding and jumping on and off these trails. But as the weather begins to warm up and the trails begin to dry out, they become the perfect condition for the mountain bike racing team. Dozens of protesters gathered right here across the street from the Tyson facility, holding signs up just like this one in a strike that lasted 5 consecutive days. Some students are now using VR headsets in their classes. Find out how coming up next on UATV. Yeah, this particular shopping center right off of Rodney Harem, which is a very popular street and area in Little Rock, was devastatingly struck. I don't know if y'all can see, these businesses right behind me are already having their glass windows boarded up now, but the cars in this Kroger parking lot that were completely destroyed and basically totaled by the tornado are very much still here, and we can only assume that they belong to people that were either inside shopping or conducting a typical work day when the tornado struck. But what thing I have seen throughout the entire city has been that a majority of the people inside of these businesses were actually able to walk out alive and unharmed. The Woodland Heights area of Cantrell Road took a devastating hit Friday afternoon, with housing units and businesses nearly demolished. Employees of Pulaski County Title were on the top floor of the building when the first tornado hit the area.
We were in the bathroom, in the women's bathroom behind the elevator, which I think pretty much saved our lives.
Never thinking the tornado would actually hit their building, Broyles and the people on her floor didn't have time to make it downstairs where everyone else was sheltering.
I could hear the metal peeling from the roof.
Once the sounds of destruction stopped, Broyles and her co-workers barely made it outside before having to rush into a nearby basement as a second tornado hit.
I came back out, we were doing good, it was still kind of raining, and then someone said, "Here comes another one."
Broyles says she and the other 50 people in her building were lucky to have somewhere nearby to take cover.
So everybody was really kind to let us come in and shelter with them.
Cleanup crews say even working as quickly as possible, it may take more than 6 months to recover from the storm.
Oh, it's horrible. Yeah, they're probably looking at close to $1 million worth of damage.
For Broyles and her co-workers, however, the damages are the least of their worries.
But we're all safe, and this is just material things, and we can rebuild and just go on. That's all we can do.
Yesterday, Broyles was actually able to go back inside of that building and visit the remains of what was once her office. And luckily enough, the only thing that was left, despite everything else being completely gone, was a candy bowl dish that she had still full and completely untouched. Reporting live in Little Rock for UATV, this has been Kaitlin Garza. That's right, high school students that attend schools just like the one right behind me are facing higher amounts of sadness, violence, and suicide risk than ever before.
I know a lot of adults who just say, "You're 17, it's not real," but it is real.
The Youth Risk Behavior Survey released by the CDC this month highlights the concerning increase in teen mental health issues from 2011 to 2021. According to the report, 42% of high school students in 2021 felt sad or hopeless for 2 consecutive weeks or more. Teen girls reportedly experienced nearly double the amount of suicide risks compared to their male peers. Rogers Heritage High School student Lexi Gray says she and her classmates often feel depressed for one major reason.
I see people on social media and I'm like, why isn't that me? And I think that's the biggest thing.
Aside from social media, Grace says her school doesn't always address mental health issues whenever they arise on campus. One Fayetteville High School counselor, Rajiv Thompson, says his school, along with others in the area, have felt the impact of increasing mental health issues among teens, as resources for those students struggling have become less available.
We attempt to find just lists of therapists and people who have openings, and we are struggling. Everybody's busy, everybody's full.
Without schools considering therapists on campus to be essential faculty members, Thompson says he only sees the mental health crisis worsening.
I'm worried about what's going to take place in the future.
For Gray, the solution to the problem is a lot simpler than providing students with resources.
Because the thing is, we have resources if we like look for them, but like no one's actually checking on us, you know.
The COVID-19 pandemic was another major contributing factor in the overall increase of mental health issues among teens the survey saw. Reporting live for UATV, I'm Kaitlin Garza. I'm at the Tyson Poultry Center on campus that, unlike the Van Buren facility, will continue to remain with its doors open. It wasn't until nearly a month after the decision came to shut down the plant that workers discovered they'd not only be forced to sell their vacation times, but would also only receive a compensation of $1,000. The push for justice came as workers like Marlene Barquerano, who's worked at the facility for over 15 years, later found out that supervisors would be receiving nearly 6 times the amount of compensation as them.
The protest wasn't a way for us to be rebellious. No, it was because after so many years of work, all of us workers were just asking for something fair.
Workers then started meeting with Venceremos, a nonprofit organization that works to ensure the dignity of poultry workers throughout the state.
Immigration in Arkansas happened because of this industry.
Director of the organization, Magali Licoli, helped the workers, who were mostly all immigrants from Latin America, organize their strike and establish the demands they wanted the company to meet.
Workers were determined to keep on going on the strike. And because we were there, Tyson knew that they were not alone, that people were watching them, and they had to be very careful.
Dozens of protesters gathered right here across the street from the Tyson facility, holding signs up just like this one in a strike that lasted 5 consecutive days. Of the 970 workers impacted, 31% signed the petition and participated in the strike. Although Tyson agreed to meet the 4 main demands of the protest, the futures of many of the workers is still in question, as the only transfer option available is to a facility in Texas for 2 years.
They're not thinking about our kids, our families, that we have homes and children who are in school. You can't just pick up like taking your puppy under your arm and going wherever.
For Vaquerano, her plans after May 12th are to return to school to improve her English and obtain a better job away from Tyson in the poultry business, which she says is also the case for most of her peers.
They don't plan on returning to work for a plant like Tyson either, because everyone's upset, a lot have cried and felt depressed after seeing a way that they have treated us.
The next step for workers will be reaching out to buyers and clients of Tyson to establish codes of conduct for the company's employees. Reporting for one final time for UATV, I'm Kaitlin Garza. This field right behind me at Lewis Park is home to the Fayetteville Phoenix women's rugby team, most Saturdays with kickoffs starting at 1 p.m. The club was originally founded back in 2019 by several members of the university's rugby team who, after graduation, just missed being able to play the sport together. Now the team is one of the only 2 women's leagues in the state and has grown to have over 40 active members, which co-founder Allison Smith says have become an extremely tight-knit community.
We all recruit for each other, we're all here for each other, and we just want rugby, everyone to love rugby like we love rugby.
Body positivity is another factor of the sport that Sim says empowers the women playing it and also makes them feel not only stronger but more confident as well. This is why the team encourages women of all different shapes and sizes to try the sport out for themselves at least one time throughout their lifetimes. The team meets for practices every Tuesday and Thursday at the Boys and Girls Club of Fayetteville and is open to any women in the area interested in joining. Reporting live for UATV, I'm Kaitlin Garza. Here in the World Languages and Digital Humanities studio is where graduate assistant Jonathan Carmona uses these VR headsets to immerse his students in Spanish cultures all over the world. Rather than learning cultural facts and vocabulary from a textbook, Carmona designs specifically scripted 360 videos that physically take his students to the places that they're learning about. There, they get a chance to practice speaking different tenses of Spanish with real native speakers without ever having to leave the classroom. This past month, Carmona took 26 of his students to Barcelona, Spain to visit a museum to learn more about Spanish architecture and culture. So far, Carmona says his students have loved getting the opportunity to learn in a new way.
The interaction, having people around them and being actually, or the sensation of being in this virtual environment that makes them feel like they are closer to that target language and target culture.
Aside from using VR in his classes, Carmona has also helped start the VR Club for Language Learning and has helped over 70 students use the headsets to learn languages from Spanish to French and German. The club also invites professors of all languages on campus to come learn more about VR technologies and how to properly use them. What started off last semester as just one headset has now turned into nearly 10, which Carmona says are available to anyone in the World Languages Department to come and try. Reporting live for UATV, I'm Kaitlin Garza.